So welcome to this evening's parent workshop for the sixth form here at DCIS. Just to let you know that the students had a similar talk yesterday in the open morning. So students were given this overview presentation of the programmes on offer at Dover Court, and they also got the chance to meet with subject teachers and also some of our Year 13 students who have gone through most of their sixth form programmes and are getting towards the end of those this year. We'll also look to try and answer any questions that you have on the chat. Mr. Gould will kindly be manning that. Any questions that we aren't able to answer this evening, we will answer on the secondary spotlight. So that will be sent out along with the copies of the slides and the recording. So we'll kick off with an overview of what this evening is about. So we'll be giving an overview of the programmes in sixth form at DCIS, thinking about what is the International Baccalaureate, how is it structured, what subject options are available, what BTEC programmes are available on offer, what units do BTEC students study, what are the next steps for further education after DCIS, and then we'll come to the application details. So just to give you an introduction to some of the sixth form team here, my name is Mr. O'Shea, I'm the head of sixth form and the IB coordinator and progress leader for Year 13. Miss Charlesworth is another colleague who will be involved with the sixth form application process. She's our deputy head of sixth form and Year 12 progress leader. You'll most likely recognise Mr. Tuckley there. He's the Year 11 progress leader, so progress leader for your sons and daughters currently. And then we have Miss Patty, who is joining us this evening. She's our BTEC coordinator and is also head of enterprise. And we also have Miss Rahman joining us this evening, who's our university and higher education counsellor. So the 5 programmes we have on offer at DCIS are the IB diploma programme, which is programme 1. Then we have IB courses with 3 higher level subjects. IB courses is programme 3. And then programme 4 is our vocational pathway with BTEC level 2 and level 3 business. And programme 5 is our international BTEC level 3 diploma. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of our results for May 2021 in the IB. You can see here that in terms of the average subject grade we scored was 5.6. The highest grade achievable for IB subjects is a grade 7. Our highest score for individual student was 44, just 1 away from the maximum 45, which is an incredible achievement and something we're very proud of. And you can see there the average diploma score globally was 33 and our school average was 36. So we're out achieving that global average. And 100% of our diploma students passed and achieved the full IB diploma. So to give you an idea of what the IB diploma is, it's a challenging and balanced programme of education known for its rigorous assessment and also the fact that it gives students access to over 2,000 of the world's leading universities. It's also taught in a variety of languages in over 140 countries and takes the best elements of multiple national systems without being based and restricted solely by one. So it is a really comprehensive programme of study for our students. Underpinning the IB and the IB diploma is the learner profile, which you see here, which has 10 key traits that we seek to encourage and develop within our learners. So you see things like being principled, being caring, being balanced, and being knowledgeable amongst others. And those really neatly tie in with our DCIS vision. And you can see there some of the similar traits that we see there, things like care, inquiry, global citizenship. So there's a really nice thread as students come through our school and then they finish in Year 11 and then graduate into our sixth form programmes. The structure of the IB diploma works around 3 core requirements that all students would take alongside 6 academic areas. Each of these 6 academic areas is graded from 1 to 7, 7 being the highest. And those core elements are worth a combined 3 points. So that makes the total for the IB diploma 45 points, as stated earlier with 2 of our students, in fact, scoring 44 points. And then 3 of these 6 subjects that students would study are done at a higher level, and 3 subjects are studied at a standard level. One of the subjects from each group is chosen, and then alongside that, those 3 core requirements are extended essay, theory of knowledge, and creativity activity service. You can see there the initialisms and acronyms. There's plenty of those, so you'll often see those referred to as EE, TOK, and CAS. To show you that in a kind of a graphic way, you see the 3 core elements here, and then our 6 subject areas, which include mathematics, sciences, language and literature, language acquisition, individuals and societies, and the arts. So to give you a bit more detail about those core elements, when students take on creativity activity service, they're encouraged to work towards 7 learning outcomes through different pursuits that might involve being creative, so things involved in the arts, perhaps music. And then for activity, they're expected to involve themselves in physical exertion. So it might be through team sports, personal goals within exercise and healthy living. And then for service, students take on unpaid and voluntary work that has a benefit for the student, but also contributes to the wider community, whether that be within our school community, the broader Singapore community, or the global community. Theory of knowledge encourages and asks the students to reflect on the nature of knowledge and how we claim to know what we know. And this is quite a philosophical subject and has links with all subjects that students study. So it really belongs in the core of the IB because of its links to every subject studied. This is assessed through an exhibition and a 1,600-word essay that students complete. Finally, the extended essay is an independent, self-directed piece of research, which culminates in a 4,000-word paper that the students write. They do have a supervisor for this, so they're not completely left to their own devices for it. The supervisor meets with the student several times throughout the process and guides them and supports them with completing that extended essay. So the requirements for our IB diploma are that students achieve a minimum of 6 IGCSEs or their equivalent with grades 5 to 9, including English and maths. Students should, if they're applying for this, for the higher level options, they should be scoring a grade 6 or above in their IGCSE. And for standard level options, we expect students to score a grade 5 or above to access the course at IB level. Please note that the expectations and entry requirements are higher for higher level maths. Students should be achieving a grade 8 or a grade 9 should they wish to study higher level maths at IB. So the IB diploma is awarded for students that pass their 3 courses at higher level and standard level, and they must score a total of at least 24 points in order to be awarded the full diploma. In addition to that, they need to fulfill all those requirements of the core disciplines, CAS, TOK, and extended essay. There are a few other stipulations that apply regarding minimum scores in a specific number of subjects, and that's can be viewed in the sixth form handbook or the IB handbook that students receive. And then even if students are on the IB diploma and they don't quite meet those requirements, they would still be rewarded with IB courses and recognised for the grades and the achievements that they've achieved in each of those individual subjects, and also for the completion of CAS, TOK, and extended essay, should they have passed those and scored high enough grades in those. So that completes Programme 1, which is our IB diploma. Moving on now to Programmes 2 and 3. Programme 2 is our IB courses with 3 higher level subjects. Now in this, we expect students to choose a minimum of 4 subjects, of which 3 must be studied at higher level. For IB courses, there's no obligation to study 6 subjects, and there's no mandatory obligation to study extended essay, TOK, and CAS, though we do in particular encourage students to continue with CAS because it really helps in particular for university applications and for broadening their horizons. For Programme 3, students, it's also called IB courses, but students aren't expected to study any of those at a higher level, but we still would expect students to study a minimum of 4 subjects. There's a lot more flexibility with IB courses in terms of the makeup of the programme. However, it does give some limitations when applying to universities, and I'll allow Ms. Rahman to talk a bit more about that later on. In terms of the actual subjects that the students are taking, they'll follow the same courses as an IB diploma student, and they'll be examined in exactly the same way as those IB diploma students. They'll sit the same examinations, and they'll complete the same internal assessment. So the programs 2 and 3 do offer a lot more flexibility for students to make up the program that is entirely suitable for them. Our entry requirements for these programs 2 and 3 are that students have achieved a minimum of 5 GCSEs or equivalent in grades 5 to 9, again, including English and maths. Those same requirements are there for HL and SL options as they are for the IB diploma, and the same applies for higher level maths. One additional stipulation that we ask is that students should have studied a subject that is relatable to the subjects they're choosing at IB. So for example, we would expect that if a student is choosing geography as one of their IB courses subjects, that they have studied it at GCSE level as well. You'll see on screen now the range of subject choices that we offer. We've been really pleased to be able to add subjects over the recent years, to be able to expand our programme and provide more choice for our students. A new addition this year is design technology, and we'll also, for economics, that is now going to be a subject that's taught here in school rather than via our online platform Pomoja, which I'll talk a bit more about later. You can see that they're organised into those 6 subject areas that I mentioned earlier. I'll just leave those up there for a moment for you to have a little look through. So for students that are looking to study 2 science subjects at a higher level, we do ask students to write a short letter explaining and justifying these choices to Mr. Gould, the head of science and deputy head, and also to myself. The reason for that is because it's very, very challenging to study 2 higher level sciences at IB level. And of course, we want to encourage our students to take on that challenge if it's suitable, but we obviously also have a duty to make sure students are on a programme of study that's suitable for them, and that sets them up well for their future plans, for their universities, and for what they want to go on into for a career. So do bear that in mind if your student is thinking about taking 2 science subjects at a higher level. I mentioned Pomoja courses a moment ago. These are our online platform in which students engage in the subject with a global classroom. This is done, they can access this in school through their laptop, and the students are then able to communicate with, they still have a designated teacher online, and they have a number of students around the world that they would be taking that course with, and that they would have the chance to interact and discuss ideas with. Our students last year scored on average a grade 5.1, which is still a very high score for an IB subject. And you can see some of the kind of key numbers there that Pomoja supply in terms of how widely they are used by a range of schools, and the number of courses that they offer. We use these to supplement our offering here at DCIS, though we would say that we prefer students to be in the classroom with a Dover Court teacher and with other Dover Court students, which is the best way for them to learn. But the Pomoja courses are there as an option. To sum up the IB diploma advantages, students, when they study the IB diploma, are still studying a diverse range of subjects. So they're not narrowing their options too soon, which is important as they think about keeping their options open, as they think about their university options and their future career aspirations. They're challenged to be independent, lifelong learners and apply critical thinking skills. Through things like creativity, activity, service, they're broadening their horizons and trying out new pursuits in different areas. It's recognised worldwide and highly regarded by universities. And also students tend to be better prepared for the challenges of university, particularly in that first year, having been challenged with the rigour of the IB diploma. And also, of course, we want them to become well-rounded individuals, as outlined by the underpinning IB learner profile that I spoke about right at the start. I'm going to pass over now to Miss Patty, who's going to talk to you in some detail about the BTEC offerings here, so programs 4 and 5 that you can see on the screen now. And then it'll be Miss Rahman to talk about university applications or university plans after DCIS. And then I'll return at the end to talk more about application process. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So thank you, Mr. O'Shea. As he mentioned, my name is Miss Patty. I am the Head of Enterprise and the BTEC Coordinator here at DCIS. It's been a great privilege for me over the past year and a half to kind of introduce the vocational qualifications to the school. And we've got 2 programs. So program 4, the International BTEC Level 2 Diploma in Business, and program 5, the International BTEC Level 3 Diploma in Business. And I'm going to talk about the differences between the 2 programs here. But one thing to note is that the BTEC is a different style of learning to the IB course, in the sense that it's vocational and very practical and hands-on. So some of you may be familiar with BTEC qualifications, particularly if you've come from the UK system, but I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of an overview of what we mean by BTEC and how widely recognised they are. So BTEC stands for the Business and Technology Education Council. And like I said, they are vocational and specialist work-related qualifications that combine really practical learning with also the subject and theory content. So students get the best of both worlds. They get the academic side where they're learning topics and theory, but they also get to then put that theory into practice through their coursework, which can be from a range of different kind of methods, such as presentations, reports, magazine articles, and even filming role plays or interview scenarios. The BTEC kind of is looked at across the world. There are over 1 million learners worldwide on over 2,000 different qualifications across 16 sectors of business. So BTEC qualifications are ranging from business, like the one offered here, all the way through to things like blacksmithing, aeronautical engineering, and beauty, for example. So they are really wide-ranging across different sectors, and our qualification offered here focuses on business. The 1 million learners worldwide study from entry level, so below GCSE level, all the way through to qualifications at level 7, which is equivalent to a postgraduate or master's degree. BTEC qualifications are recognised by employers worldwide, as well as universities and further education providers. Ms. Rahman will talk a bit more about those kind of progression routes with the BTEC qualifications shortly. So who would be looking to kind of study the BTEC programs here at DCIS? So they're targeted at 16 to 19-year-olds. They are students that demonstrate high standards of knowledge, skills, and understanding required for further study. So not only do the BTEC qualifications prepare learners for the world of work, but they also provide really good grounding and independent study for further education. Like I said, well motivated for independent work and study, and for our learners here, because we're offering the business courses, they should ideally have an interest in the field of business. So what are the benefits, or why study a BTEC? So learners develop and apply knowledge, skills, and behaviours that employers and universities are looking for. So learners not only study the theory side of business, but they also get to gain very practical skills such as presentation and ICT skills alongside the knowledge of business that underpins the course. Students are challenged to multitask and prioritise, and it's really good practice for students wanting to go into further education in terms of managing their workload. The courses are 100% coursework based, so students will have to be able to manage deadlines and prioritise assignments, as well as kind of managing the day-to-day work within lessons. Students also gain a practical understanding and experience of how businesses operate in a complex world that exam-based subjects may not offer. And these courses are ideal for students who maybe suffer from exam anxiety or prefer learning on a kind of on-the-job sort of method, looking at practical assignments and coursework-based assessments. So for the 2 different programs, we have slightly different entry requirements, and I will kind of explain why that is shortly. So for the level 2 diploma, The academic requirements are 4 GCSE or IGCSE grades or equivalent at any grade, and the English requirement would be completion of year 11 or equivalent English. For the level 3, we would require 5 IGCSE or equivalent at grade 4 and above, and the English requirement is the IGCSE or equivalent at grade 3 or above. So the differences between the two in terms of the requirements is that the level 2 diploma is equivalent to 4 GCSE grades. So this is a qualification designed to allow learners to bolster their suite of qualifications before moving on to further study, whereas the level 3 diploma is at the kind of same level as IB and A level in terms of the rigor, and it's equivalent to 2 A-level grades. So that's why the academic and English requirements are slightly different. For both courses, it is expected that students will produce predominantly report-based work, so they do need to be proficient in English and be able to write essays as well as produce presentations, leaflets, infographics and things like that. So for programme 4, which is the level 2 programme, this is a 2-year full-time programme of study. Like I said, it's equivalent to 4 GCSE grades. The study supports employability and progression to further education. Alongside the business lessons, students will also attend ICT and presentation skills to provide the kind of practical kind of guidance of how to use ICT effectively to create their coursework, as well as for their kind of employability skills and presentation skills there to boost confidence in talking to groups or presenting in a business scenario. The students of the level 2 cohort will participate in whole group PE classes, and they also do have the opportunity to resit any IGCSEs as appropriate alongside their programme of study. We do aim, hopefully, in the future, as the restrictions in Singapore hopefully ease, to include work experience and more vocational opportunities as part of the programme. The students also take part in the IB CAS programme, as outlined by Mr. O'Shea, so it gives them a real good grounding in kind of that side of the IB programme and really boosts their CVs ready for university in the future or for the world of work. They also have additional and supervised and guided independent study time, so opportunities to work with teachers to learn vital study skills, but also time for them to work on assignments, which form a big part of the BTEC qualifications. The students are taught in nice small groups, usually with one teacher responsible for the qualification, and then have specialist teaching in other curriculum areas such as ICT and presentation skills. And those small groups allow students to become really comfortable and confident with their peers and the teacher, allowing them to then participate in the more practical elements of the course. So, as mentioned, the assessment is 100% internally assessed coursework. So the coursework is assessed by the course teacher and then sent off to BTEC and Pearson for standards verification. So all of the units will be covered at school and students will be guided through how to kind of produce their assignment work. So there are mandatory units as well as optional units. So 4 mandatory units looking at business purposes, so why businesses exist, different ownership types, and how stakeholders impact businesses. You've got Unit 2, business organisations, looking at how are businesses organised in terms of their organisational structures, different functional areas. Unit 3 looks at finance, so looking at cash flow forecasting, break even, profit and loss. And Unit 4 is people and organisations, so looking at the behaviour behind how businesses operate. So how do you be an effective manager, for example. Students also cover optional units. I'm not going to kind of read them all out, so you've got them on screen there, but they are really practical, looking at things like verbal and non-verbal communication, working in teams, planning, marketing, and also managing personal finance, which is one that I wish I had had at age 16, knowing how to manage my finances and actually start saving from an early age. Programme 5, which is the BTEC Level 3 diploma, is again a 2-year full-time programme of study here at DCIS. It's equivalent to 2 A-level grades. So this is on the same kind of level as the IB and A-level qualifications. And Ms. Rahman will talk about the access to further education from these programmes. They also study to support employability and progression to higher education. And like the level 2, we do hope that over the coming years, we'll be able to include work experience and a lot more vocational opportunities, getting out and about, visiting businesses and having kind of guest speakers coming in and speaking to students to really immerse them in the world of business. Again, they will participate in the IB CAS, and it's designed to be a substantive part of the 16 to 19 study programme for learners who want a really strong core of business sector study. So if your son or daughter is interested in going to university or beyond to study business, finance, this would be a really good course to give them that strong foundation. There are kind of other academic and non-qualification elements to complement it, and they will have ongoing ICT and presentation skills alongside their core business studies, with that additional independent and guided study time as well. So the level 3 courses, unlike the level 2 course, actually provide access directly into higher education, such as university or entry into the world of work. So I've had students in the past go on to do apprenticeships with places like PwC and HSBC, where they have their degree funded by the company from studying BTEC, because again, employers really like the practical skills that learners develop. Again, we aim to keep these groups quite small so that the students become really comfortable and confident working with their peers and with their teacher. So unlike the level 2 diploma, there are a mixture of set assignments. So they are all coursework based, but some are more like a controlled assessment where students will have 9 hours to work on a set assignment from Pearson. So they will study 5 mandatory units, and then the teacher will select 4 optional units. So they're quite similar in terms of the content. So exploring business, which gives you an overview of why businesses exist, sources of finance, how stakeholders influence businesses. Unit 2 is researching and planning a marketing campaign, and this is one of the set assignments. Unit 3 looks at business finance. Unit 4, which is a really exciting one that will be studied in the second year of the course, is managing an event. So students work together to set up and run an event. So we've pushed that back to the second year of the course to make sure that hopefully the world is in a bit of a better state and we're able to actually have those and hold those events here at DCIS so the students can see the fruits of their labour. Unit 7 looks at business decision making, and then the optional units, again, very practical, pitching for new business, creative promotion, branding and career planning. So students are thinking about the next steps as they go through the course. So just to summarise the differences between level 2 and level 3 BTEC. So level 2 is equivalent to 4 GCSE grades, and these are suitable for learners who want to boost their GCSE qualification range. Students who want to progress then on to a level 3 course or into the world of work. In some cases, level 2 can provide access to foundation years at university, and Ms. Rahman's going to talk in a bit more detail about those. The level 3 diploma is equivalent to A-level grades, and this is for learners who seek a more vocational alternative to the IB or A-level courses, so a much more hands-on practical way of learning. Students who want to progress then onto the foundation courses or directly into university, depending on the institution and competitiveness of the course. So in terms of the different units of study there, just a summary for the diploma. And then progression pathways. So level 2 students will have boosted suite of GCSE qualification grades. And like I said, they can also study to resit, particularly maths and English if they need to for their GCSEs, alongside doing the BTEC course. It can provide access into the world of work, further education. And this is for students who do not want to access university courses immediately after leaving Dovercourt. The level 3 diploma, like I said, is equivalent to A-level grades, and UCAS points for UK applications are earned, and they can be sufficient to access university for a foundation degree, and in some cases an undergraduate degree directly after leaving Dovercourt. So here's just to finish on the typical BTEC learner timetable. So as you can see, lots of BTEC business, but you've also got presentation skills, ICT, independent study periods, and guided study periods there to support learners with the kind of high levels of coursework that the students will be undertaking during their course. I'm going to pass over now to Ms. Rahman, who's going to talk to you a bit more about the kind of pathways from Dover Court and support for university applications. Thank you.
Hello, hey folks. So I'm Ms. Rahman. I am the Careers and Guidance Counselor. So I work with the students in sixth form to help them look at their next options after they finish at Dover Court, whether that is university, whether that is other programs, or whether that's straight into the workforce. So just so everyone knows, I meet with students, but I also can meet with families and parents. So feel free, I have a booking appointment system online where students and families can meet with me. With families and parents, I meet over Zoom. With students, we meet in my office if possible. So I really encourage students to be meeting with me during sixth form at least once a term, but as often as once a week or as often as is needed for the students. So prior to sixth form entry, I try to guide students. We try to provide students with guidance on their education options so that they know, what choices that they make in sixth form and kind of what are the next steps and what options do they have after that. So with students, again, I work with them and provide them with personalized guidance. So I do try to meet with students and do regularly meet with students one-on-one to make sure that, it's not just general information that we're providing, but very specific information on the courses that they need and sort of what their next steps are. I also regularly communicate with parents so that you're aware of sort of what we're talking to students about as well. So now want to jump into talking about what the various programs that Dover Court offers and what the next steps can be available to them. Mr. O'Shea and Ms. Patty touched upon those and the different programs and what the next steps are. But what I want to do in the next couple of minutes is give some specific examples so that you have a little bit of an idea of, what are the sort of requirements, what are the course requirements, maybe grade requirements and things like that for various different options. So for the full IB diploma program that Mr. O'Shea was talking about, this is a very well-recognized, internationally recognized program, and students will typically be offered admission during their year 13, often on their predicted scores before they even graduate. They're receiving offers. So an example of requirements that you may see from various universities around the world, they might ask for a specific number of minimum diploma points overall, which would be a total of the diploma points for each of the different courses that they've taken. It might ask for specific subjects to be taken at specific levels. So some STEM courses might ask for math to be taken at the higher level as opposed to the standard level, or some related courses might ask for, some STEM courses might ask for some specific science classes and things like that. So some examples of what some universities around the world might be asking for. So here's an example of Nottingham. For a lot of students applying from IB, they're looking for a minimum of 36 total. For certain subjects in computer science, they're looking for 5 in math, but it can be at the standard level or higher level. The University of California system in the United States. So they require a variety of subjects, which IB naturally covers, but they just ask for a minimum of 4 in every subject, but an overall average between 5 and 6. So we encourage students to not just hit 4, but try to obtain higher points. So you can see that different schools kind of will ask for different minimum criteria. If students are looking for IB courses and they're going that route where they're taking 3 higher level, the offerings are actually going to be very traditionally similar to what universities are going to be looking for the full diploma. So again, they might be looking for a certain number of diploma points, certain courses taken at certain levels and certain scores within those courses. So some examples of some of those programs, you see them in the UK, you see them in Canada, so you have access to them kind of all over. And again, similar sort of requests. So you can see from University of Hull, for students looking at computer science, they are asking for higher level scores of 6, 5, and 5, regardless of what those higher level subjects are actually in. For students looking to go the IB course route with a minimum of 4 courses, typically those students will are typically more best suited for a foundations year before they go straight into universities. That'll usually be one additional year, and then they go straight into a 3 or 4 year program, depending on which types of programs that they're looking for. So an example of some requirements that you might see for these foundation year programs for students doing IB courses, they'll need a GCSE in English, so they'll often need some sort of English requirement. Depending on the country, they may need an external English proficiency exam. Often that's not usually required, as they're aware that our language of instruction is in English and our students are fluent in English. And oftentimes some programs might require a letter of reference so they can see what kind of learner the student is, and have a sense of what they're really looking for. So here's an example of students that might be looking for different programs. There are some programs, some universities that will admit students who are going the IB course route with a minimum of 4 courses. But traditionally, those students are best suited for foundations programs. That's where the majority of those students will go. So they attend those for 1 year with the intent to matriculate into the university for a 3 or 4 year program afterwards. For BTech, so we have BTech level 3 and BTech level 2. So I'll talk about both of those options. For the BTech level 3 diploma, students can enter university directly. It depends on what their scores are, just like with IB, or some, depending on what program. If it's more competitive programs, they might require additional foundation year, again, that 1 year before they jump straight into the university, into their university program. So an example of requirements for universities, they might ask for specific grades for students in their BTech courses, the grades such as distinction or merit. Some very competitive programs might ask for some additional coursework or testing outside of the BTech program. If a student has taken an A-level externally, they might require that, or they might list that online. But again, students looking at foundations programs, they'll mainly be looking at English proficiency and possibly a letter of reference as well. So here's some examples of some great foundations years in a few different programs around the world. And for BTech level 2, students typically will require 2 additional years of work, kind of known as, they'll do the foundations year, but they'll often do a pre-foundations year before that, which will be anywhere, depending on the course, depending on the country and area of study, typically anywhere from probably an additional 6 to 8 months beforehand, and then they'll jump straight into their foundations year. These programs can typically be found in Singapore and Australia. You can see some in the UK as well. So students can choose these options. This will also require usually some sort of English GCSE, or if students want, they can take an in-house English exam at the institution that they're choosing to apply to. These programs are really fantastic because they often have direct entry from the pre-foundations program straight into foundations programs, and then with partnering university institutions where students can have direct entry into a variety of different institutions, or students with the BTech level 2 can go directly into the workforce because it's such a fantastic vocational program. So here's some examples of what some of these programs are. So you'll see we have some in the UK, some in Australia, some in Singapore as well. So just an example, here's a bit of an example of some university outcomes where some of our students have gone the past few years. You'll notice that we have them send them all over the world, some in Singapore. And these are these are universities where they accept IB diploma, IB courses, as well as some of these also accept BTech. Many of these also accept BTech. So you can see that students have a lot of great options. Now I'm going to pass it over to Mr. O'Shea to talk about the application.
Hi there. So we've given you an overview of the programs that we offer here at DCIS. We're really proud of the variety that we offer, and we think we've got something for every one of our year 11 students, and that we've given you some further insight into that. Now to talk a bit about the application process. You should make it really clear that all our students, so all current DCIS students, are required to fill in an application to join the sixth form. So students don't automatically go through into our sixth form. You must submit an application form. If applying for the diploma, a place is offered conditional of meeting those entry requirements that I outlined earlier. And if students don't quite meet those for the IB diploma, they will be offered a place on the IB courses, and we will build a bespoke program for individual students based around the results that they did get at GCSE level. And we do reserve the right to withdraw the offer should parents not accept that course's recommendation. We have those entry requirements there for a reason to try and ensure that students are on a programme of study that is not just challenging for them, but also attainable and suitable. We also do monitor students' progress, all our students right throughout the year, just to ensure at regular points that they are on the correct programme, and there is the possibility that students might change programme throughout the 2 years. There is also the opportunity for students to apply for a scholarship. So should students apply for that, they need to be demonstrating strong academic all-round ability, excellent proficiency in English, and then strength in one or more areas of arts, technology, humanities, maths, science, etc. And also on top of that, we would expect students to not only show readiness to engage in activities beyond the classroom, but demonstrate ways in which they already have done that and ways in which they've been involved in the wider Dovercourt community, and how that can supplement their scholarship application. Successful recipients of the scholarship receive up to a maximum of 50% off their tuition fees for the length of their course. We work in increments up to 50%. So we have scholarships right from 5% through to 50% as the maximum. And also there's no, we have a scholarship committee that reviews all applications and discusses those and decides on those awards, and we don't offer scholarships to every student that applies. It is competitive, but we do encourage students to apply for it. The deadline for scholarship applications, and in fact for all applications, is the 28th of February. We would encourage students particularly to apply for their place before the 28th of February. We appreciate early applications and signalling your intention to stay with us. And further information is available in the pack that your students received yesterday. So they should have all the details in there. Now, the next steps, with the students having had this talk and other information and opportunities to talk with their subject teachers yesterday, you'll probably be wondering what the next steps are. Students can continue these conversations in school. We would encourage them to speak to any member of the sixth form team if they have questions, to speak to individual subject teachers about their suitability for the course, what the course entails, to really help them make those decisions. As I mentioned, they've been given the application forms and the subject options sheet in there, and there's also scholarship details available in that pack as well. We'd really strongly encourage you to discuss options, as a family for post GCSE, and students will be in the coming, in the next week, will be issued a document in which they consider their future career options, so that they can really be starting to think, not just about the next step, but the following steps after that. There'll also be arranged by Mr. Tuckley a Google form, which will be sent out to parents to fill in with your child, to give us an idea of what your next steps are. This isn't binding in any way, but it just gives us a bit of an idea of what your plans are going forward into next year. Now, thank you for the questions that you have sent on the chat this evening. I think we've answered quite a few of them. Any that we haven't been able to answer this evening, we will get those answers out to you via the secondary spotlight tomorrow, so that hopefully all questions will be answered. We're really glad that you're able to join us this evening. As I said, we're very proud of what we're able to offer here at Dovercourt for our sixth form students, and we hope that you'll have some really good conversations in the coming days and weeks about what programme would be best suited for your student here at DCIS. Thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.